the system. Have I got the long-handed inserters? I do. All right, then let's make a move. Oh God, what have I done? Where are they all stuck? Oh no, they're fine. There's just a massive gap in the delivery. Whoa, 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 you subjugate and force the bitey buggers' nests to farm them in the new version? Yes. Yes, I'm going to turn them into superior research labs. Amongst that, many other things. I may turn some of them into nutrients later. I don't know. We will see. Dunk. Right, there you go. And dunk. There we go. Right then, with that, this is technically ready. I think. Oh, wait, no. I need to hook that up. And I want to read whether a train is on the way. And this, I'm gonna say, see, the problem here is that would have been perfect to send across in this direction. Damn. Because this might fill with rot, you see. So I'm gonna have to... Such a convoluted path. But for now, it will at least work. It's not great, but I've got to account for the fact that bioflux can rot anywhere. Anywhere in the system, it can... Oh, God. That means that it can also rot here, as it happens. Blech. Which means I need to do something like this, which is ugly, but it does serve the purpose. That can remove the rot if there's any rot there. This can remove the rot if it's gone in there. This will remove rot out of here. It'll all filter through. These things do eat the bioflux quite quickly, but I can't be certain at any time that that's going to have been removed. So now that this is set up, I want to know how much bioflux is available. So I'm going to want a simple combinator that will read whether what the bioflux level is at. If bioflux is less than, let's say, 1 stack of bioflux, then output L1. And then that can come back up here, connect up, set train limit. There we go. I don't need to do anything fancy here. This train can simply do as the bullet train does, and that is always look for whether somewhere needs it. If the request is not full and I'm not at the requester, then go to the supply, then go to the request. So that's pretty much what we're going to set up here. So add an interrupt. I'll just use bioflux and egg. Where's the biter egg? Come here. Right, so if a station is not full, and that will be the request for bioflux, and I'm not at that station, then first actually the instead of I'm not at that station, I should just check. Is there an at specified? Yeah, there we go. And I'm at the depot. So I'm not going to do this run unless I'm already at the depot. That keeps this nice and simple. Then go to the provider for bioflux. Full cargo or inactivity of 5 seconds. So grab as much as you can. Then go to the requester of bioflux. Now, because I'll be picking things up there as well, I can't say empty cargo. So what I need to say is item count for bioflux should be less than or equal to 0 and inactivity. So I can load nothing more. Or full cargo. It should be the same things, basically. Well, I guess that is going to give me inactivity. If I've filled up the carriage with stuff after emptying that, that'll also be true. So this counts for both. At that point, I need to go to the requester of eggs and empty cargo. Just wait there until empty and inactivity. And then come down. So it'll have like 5 seconds before it leaves. And then go back to the depot. Right. Save interrupt, and we're off. Let's drive remotely. Actually, doesn't really matter. I guess we'll follow it along. See if this works. 5 seconds of inactivity coming up, and we're off. And here we are. Eggs have been loaded. See how that's going. Loads of eggs. We've just emptied out all of the eggs that this place had. There's some more are on the way, which is an issue. Okay. Gonna probably say that from now on, this is going to want... 30 seconds of inactivity. That being said, might be a bit much. Let me have a look. Oh, we're unloading. There we are. They're all getting burnt. Fueling the fire. Marvelous. And off we go. But let's have a quick... back save. Let's have a look at how fast those things produce. Crafting speed of 1. Doesn't say. Okay, let me have a quick look then. .5 a second. This could be an issue. It's got exactly 100 in there. Yeah, I'm going to need to do something with the eggs here. I guess I could call the train if there's any eggs there as well. So if that is there, or any eggs are available. And at that point, I simply hook this up. This should now be calling it. So we'll have a look. Yeah, it's already left. It's stocking up on bioflux. It has collected 100. I'm going to say this should be 500. There we go. Okay. So now it's on its way. More eggs are going to be produced, which is a problem. There doesn't seem to be a way to stop that from happening. So this train is going to be back and forthing constantly. Yeah, because there's more on the way down. Okay, that is an issue. How do we deal with that then? I could simply dispose of them at this point, or I can let this keep going. There's something to be said about that. Alternatively, ooh, wait, no. Actually, there is another way that I could do this. So currently, these are active if there is a train on the way, but instead what I could do is exclusively have them active if there is a train on the way. Now the problem with that is that C, the train on the way variable, if you like, that includes the train in the station. So instead, I'm going to read the train. I'm going to say if C is greater than 0, and T is equal to 0, that means... Is the train left? No. Oh, it's because I haven't hooked it up yet. That's fine. And there we go. T is equal to 0. So there's a train on the way, but there isn't a train in the station. Then I will output the signal yes. At this point, I'm going to disconnect that. I'm going to connect this instead. I'm going to tell them that what they're looking for is a check mark. Because that should mean that in a moment, this train is going to leave. And when it does, these are not going to output anything because there's no train on the way. But there's also not a train in the station. Okay, that works. That works perfectly. But I will keep this one down here so that it will still summon the train if there happens to be an egg in there. Just because there's an egg on the way. And maybe, actually thinking about it, sure. I'll go back into groups. For the egg train, I will give the interrupt a little bit more time. I'm going to give it 30 seconds. At that point, all of the eggs should have reached the chest from the... Oh god. This is slow to get rid of these. I mean, we've got half an hour. That should be fine. Nevertheless, just in case, probably wise for me to throw down a couple of lasers. Just in case. There we go. We don't want to have to deal with any Angie boys. Or Angie babes, as the case may be. Alright. Should be sorted. Managed to empty out all of the bioflux in there. We've got plenty of eggs being distributed now. Fresh eggs, chat. We training the spoilage back? Yeah. Yeah, we are. Now these are going to stop outputting eggs because the train is in the station. So about 170 eggs are collected each visit. For the sake of getting out of here a little bit fast. Well, no, it's fine. It should be okay. There you go. Now, obviously, all this is going to spoil relatively quickly, unfortunately. Just the way that one's going to be. That being said, I mean, it's still bioflux. It still has a good amount of time on it. So 34 minutes. That's not terrible. And in that time, a decent amount might have been consumed. It's hard to say, but might have. Oh. Why did they... Huh. Why did they output more eggs? Not sure why that happened. Was it still reading train count? Reads the number of trains going to this particular stop. Includes the stopped train. I'm a bit confused about that one, if I'm honest. Not quite sure why that one happened that way. Oh well. Does an egg requester have a filter since you're loading rot too? No, the egg requester is going to just load everything. Oh, actually a good point. What I should do is, if anything is here, what I can do is have this connect up like so. Oh, do I not have that? Well, that's vexing. Oh, never mind. Then, yep, another bunch. Okay, so when the train leaves, I guess there must be a very brief moment where there is both the train in the station and the train has left the station, where it considers the train in the station, the train has left the station. That's a bit of a shame. There's one other thing I can do to solve this. And that would be to also read the color of this light. Read signal. And green. So hopefully that's going to prevent any eggs being added, because that will remain red until the train is left. But what I want here is that anything in here, each plus 0 output. Why is the input signal? Oh, right, I see. Output egg. Basically, I'm saying, hey, treat everything like an egg. If there's anything in this chest whatsoever, consider it an egg. Right, there we go. Eggs are no longer being dumped on the thing. So this should now work as intended. And that is, until this drops below 100, the train isn't sent. Which works for me. Right, so with that done, any bioflux will get deleted. Eggs are getting fed to the generator. So, next part of the puzzle then is to make the biolabs. That will require making the labs, which I don't believe I'm doing yet. No. Okay. Well, this should now do its job. It's a shame I can't read the biolabs. Sorry, the nest at all to see how many eggs are in there or how much bioflux is in there, but this will have to do. All is egg. Egg is love. Egg is life. Fair. I feel that be hard pressed to find someone who would argue with that. All is egg. Let's go ahead and upgrade more of these. Should be able to do most of them. Honestly, may as well do the rest. I think we should have enough. Right, so to make labs, I simply need iron gear, electric circuits, and transport belt, really. So if I could run a green circuit route down here, I already have everything I would need, realistically. Let's remove that. I want transport belt only as the filter. This will be making me labs. So yeah, just green circuits now. I could grab some from over here. Would seem. Is there anywhere else with green circuits nearby? I mean, I could grab some from up there, I guess, but less fun to do. Okay, you in here. This should work. Now, I'm going to need to bring it down. That won't be too much of a problem for us. There we go. And then finally, we pop that into a provider chest. Don't want too many of them. Not sure how much they stack to. Stack to 10, so 20 in a provided chest should be ample. We are shy 15 factories. We are making them though. Slow but sure. Well, actually, I could just come over here and downgrade this one manually. As long as it's making the labs, that's all I need for now. There we go. Why are there two random quality modules in green science? So it produces quality green science on occasion. I've upgraded these since I put the modules in there. That's why there's only 2 and not 4. I've got quite a few. I should be good. There we go. Now that all of those have been upgraded, can get that done as well. Those have already been sorted. As of those. As of those. Yeah. We're good. Right. Now producing the labs. Perfect. So next step. Biolab, how long is that going to take? About 14 minutes. That's a good very hopeful estimation. We're going to need biter eggs, refined concrete, uranium. I can bring the capture rockets, the labs, the refined concrete, and the uranium all to a production facility. That's no issue there. What are we waiting on down here? Purple science, probably, yeah. Always the purple science. And the purple science is waiting on these, which are waiting on red circuits. Yeah. We'll get there eventually. Oh yeah, the labs can process mixed quality, yeah. I think they might even be the only thing that can. I'm not 100% on that, but I suspect that they are the only thing that can use mixed quality. Which is quite cool if you ask me. Actually, we're going to move these across. I would like these to be on this far side here. Right, so I want these to try, and wherever possible, pull the eggs in from here. Can't set them up yet. I would want a provider chest. I would want a request a chest. I would want these like so. Actually, absolutely no need for that. Right, let's have a look at what I'm going to need again. Uranium, refined concrete, labs, and capture rockets. One of each. Uranium. Concrete. Oh, it's refined concrete, actually. I need to make sure of that. It's fine. Labs. And capture rockets. Now, I guess there would be a way for me to check if all other ingredients were already loaded. What I could do to achieve that would be to say, I could have a constant combinator with the actual recipe. I could read the current recipe from the building. Actually, what do the eggs hatch into? Let me just double check that. This is nothing too frightening. This might be way more effort than it's worth. There we are. They're just big biters. My lasers would utterly destroy a big biter. But I could do this programmatically if I wanted to. And I kind of do. So let's have a look at that. So exactly how much do I need for these? I can't see that in there. Okay, no, back up to 20 minutes. It's going to be flashing back and forth, unfortunately. Oh, we're requesting food for the labs. Why are we requesting food for the labs? Spoilage, probably. Yeah, there's spoilage in there. I could change this to, instead of just grabbing, like being whatever, I could check for a certain amount of spoilage. Well, this is probably fine. And most of this is going to turn to spoilage very shortly. Alright, so let's have a look in here. It's 3 uranium, 10 biter egg, 25 concrete. So 3 uranium, 10 biter eggs. 25 concrete. One lab and 2 capture bot rockets. There we go. Now, I would like the labs to individually read the recipe, multiply it by -1, output each item, that'll get merged there, it'll get merged over here. And then the inserter will be active for whatever however many eggs. I could change a stack. I could have a the stack also set by this. So I would connect them up like that. And this would take however many eggs were being shown. So +0, output that as S. There we go. And then the inserters would take both the red wire from that, the green wire from the output, so that the signals don't get too confused. Same down here, the red one from this output. And then I would want to enable if egg is greater than 0 and set the stack size based on that. Use filter. Only pick up eggs. Though, honestly, I could just tell it to set filters realistically, but I think this is fine. Right. So that would allow it to grab eggs, but only the amount that are needed for a recipe to run once. But wait, that doesn't check. That only checks how many eggs are needed for the recipe. It doesn't check if everything else is in there. So no, that doesn't work. It would load exactly the amount of eggs that are needed, but I actually need it to first check if everything else is also there. So I would need to check if only egg. How would I do that? Bottom one is wired wrong. Oh yeah, you're quite right. You're quite right. Thanks for catching that. How would I check only for eggs? You can also read the contents of the assembler to find out when only eggs are missing. If I read the contents, how would I only find out if only eggs were missing? Exactly. But evidently this isn't going to work, so let me just remove all of that first. So this is the current recipe. If I read content and I compare it to this, a decider that checks if all other ingredients are present. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I suppose, actually, you're quite right. I could simply have the decider compare what's in the... like, I could just write down the recipe and check if everything in the recipe is above what it needs to be, then it can load eggs. You could definitely do that. Let me set that up then. So in that case, it would be something more like... Well, let me do it like this instead. So reading the contents... Not the stuff in crafting, though. If uranium is greater than or equal to 3, and concrete is greater or equal to 25. And what were the other things we need to look for? One lab and 2 capture rockets. There you go. Then at that point, it would allow... See, the problem is reading the input count of egg is going to be awkward. Oh, actually, no. I should be able to do this. So, if I take... egg... and the input count, which will be on red currently. And I deduct. I have a combinator with the negative 10. Well, actually, no, that works better if this is the negative, because then I'm gives me the amount that I need. Though I suppose what I could do then is simply multiply it by its inverse, or rather multiply by -1. Poison BL says, one thing I added just to be triply sure, if output item is less than 1, so I'm not blocked with output and pulling in eggs, didn't wait to test and find out if that was the real concern. That's actually a good point. Yeah. And... is equal to 0. Yeah. That's a pretty solid check. So, we want -10 eggs. There you go. Oh, wait, no, because if this has got nothing in it... Well, no, actually, that will just give me -10 in that case. And then eventually it'll hit 0, and then 0 eggs will be passed through. Yeah. And then output that as S. I actually specifically want to check the eggs here. It should only ever be eggs, realistically speaking, but that should give me the exact amount that I need. There we go. Set filter, set stack size. And there we are. Biolabs complete. So I should be able to set those up now. Let's check how that works. Currently, I don't have the concrete, so it's not passing that through. I won't have the concrete either, because sadly, I do not yet make the concrete. Let's pull this whole setup back a little bit so it's more in line. Copy it. There we go. And that one down there. There we go. Right. So I now need to set up concrete, which is going to require, the refined concrete rather. Just needs regular concrete, water, iron sticks, and steel plates. Where am I making my concrete? There's the bricks, and bricks are going up here. Am I actually making concrete anyway? It's a good question. Conk. Oh, right, yeah. Right there. Okay, so that's where am I making refined concrete anyway? Nope. Very well. Right. Well, I should be able to set these up. Actually, I would really like it if this were the other way around. Just plonk that up a little bit. Right, so if we're setting this up to be refined concrete, that's very convenient. Right, we're going to want... I can't believe how much more of the game I play in, like, the map mode now. Kind of weird. I need steel, and steel is trivially easy for me to get, so let's take care of that straight away. And we'll have the iron sticks going down this way. Oh. No, actually that works. Only issue is, where the heck do I put the concrete? I guess I could have them output like that. It's not ideal by an enormous margin, but I suppose it'll work. I'm going to need iron plate to make the sticks. Oh, this is going to be squirrely. Are you ready for the spaghetti yet? I'm not sure you are. I'm not sure I am. Nevertheless, here we are. I mean, this technically does the job in the most awful way, but there is nothing wrong at all with thinking through all of the edge cases. Actually, I would say that is pretty awesome. Well done. There we are. Refined concrete being made and delivered. Wait for a little bit more. Last little bit. Oh, they're heading out, so we're going to get some eggs back down here in a moment. And that might be enough. Right, we got 30. Saying -10. Oh, I've got to output eggs. My bad. Output eggs. Copy that down here. And 10. So hand size is 10 right now. We are trying to bring in eggs. So now I just need to wait to see how many eggs this brings back. Not a huge amount. Huge amount of spoilage. Oh, holy crap. The gigantic amounts of spoilage. And more on the way as well. We're going to get out of here in time? We are not. We'll be stuck here for a little while collecting all of this spoilage. That's fine. At least we won't have to make another trip. Though I suspect I will be making another trip. That won't spoil in quite soon enough. Oh, ooh. They should start loading soon. Yeah, there we go. And we are about to head off. Yeah. Way more spoilage in here than anything else. Right, here we go. Bunch of eggs being collected. Exactly enough to load to do a second load. That one only grabbed 4 though, which is a problem. That is a bit of an issue. Maybe I should only have 1. Might be safer. Yeah, in fact, it absolutely will be safer. That being said, I mean, they're okay now, but... It looked okay, actually. Alright. Biolabs are available. We have finally got them. happiest of days. Oh my good lord. Okay, so this is an opportunity to see just how ridiculously huge they are. Truly, the chunkiest of boys. When does it average out? It never does. Are they full? They are no. They are 5. Huh. Okay. So it takes that many. Oops. Ah. Oh no. Didn't mean for you to do that. I thought this was a safe place for me to design stuff. Scoundrels. No. Take it away. Ah, there we go. That is better. Now, we would need to make sure that everything here had power. Which we cannot easily achieve, sadly. Unless I have these on the inside. Actually, no. We can do it. Never mind. Never mind me. As it is a sushi belt, the belts will be going in opposite directions, so you kind of need to rotate them like that so you can... Well, I would want to rotate them. You could mirror them, I guess, in which case you would want to do something like... this, I suppose? Realistically? Well... Regardless, though, you're going to be connecting them at the top. You could just have the power be in the middle, though. Something like that. That certainly would make it a bit easier to place these down. Because they would then connect. Yeah, that's fine. We'll do it like that. I mean, we missing out on a beacon if I do that. But I can have beacons on the outside. Not on this side, though. In that case, then... we would probably want something like this. Doesn't quite reach across. But I can have the power poles go along the outside. Could try to get uncommon or rare variants. I'm not too worried about that, though. Because at that point, like, I don't have the ability to recycle. So at that point, and when I do, I would probably want to first get the uncommon / rare versions of these. Right. We are going to need input. Output would only be for the spoilage. Set that up. And somewhere along this mess of a line, we would want to input the various sciences and also remove the rot. So let's just create the top section now. I know if I popped another one as well. Let me just see. Right, that one wouldn't be able to get any further. So we would want to leave room for an extra beacon on the top. So that's fine. Gonna want to be able to read the entire thing. So gonna want to bring this down there. I only want a very, very limited number of splitters on this. I could have one here. Actually, that's probably at the top. And one there. This would be to remove rot. And this one would be to add science. The simplest way for me to add the science, realistically, to request a chest. I'll request a chest about there. And then I would just need circuitry to decide what items to add to the line or not. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. So in terms of this, I would just need to read this line. Probably, you know what, I could just do this as well. Have them all read hold. That way I absolutely got everything. Actually, I need this as well. Let's be thorough and read every part of the line. There you go. Now, anywhere that there is, it's possible for a science beaker to exist, I am reading it. I am going to want a constant combinator, just because it makes this a million times easier on me. I will also want a I'm going to want to filter it to add, if anything is less than a certain amount on the belt, to allow that thing to be filtered to be added. But I want to only consider things that are in that chest. The chest should request every single type of science. Then I want to check that against all of the type. Well, yeah, it doesn't matter what types of science exist. It only matters what's in the chest. If I'm requesting every type of science, then if it's not there, then I don't have it. Problem solved. Actually, should be fairly easy to do, given that then. Are the outside beacons reaching the machines? Yes, just. These are enormous machines. If they were one tile bigger, then I could have 2 beacons in the middle, but I can't. So, this would be set up to... Let's make a all science. And I will just use a space science icon just because it's funny. Right, I would want... That's a single stack is 200. We've got more than enough room in here to request 3 stacks of each. Now, the reality here is that I want to request every type of science. Blah. That's a bit less amazing. Okay, let's dial this back. How many types of science are there realistically? Well, those are the ones that I can see, but how many are there? 12. That's a lot of belts. Let's have a look at what 12 belts would look like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is a lot of belts. It would it would be the entire thing would just be that. Dear God. I guess I could do it that way though. So yeah, that would still read everything. If I place this in here, that's nice and convenient. It connects both sides. This would allow the rot to get out. And honestly, I could have each one of these belts dedicated to a single type of science. I absolutely... They will all be sideloaded. That's just the way that is. And then I could just control whether that science is allowed onto the line or not. Iota Black says, if using belts to input onto the loop, you won't need combinators. Yeah, actually, I could just read whether that belt is there's enough science on there or not. And then this would simply be enable if green science, for example, red science rather, was below however much. Let's say. But the problem here is that I can't check for quality. I need the filter to not care. How would you set up a belt feeding option if a specific lab requested it? I don't think you can connect these to wire. In much the same way you can't connect... Can you even connect these to wire? No. You wouldn't be able to do that. Because there's no way of checking what a lab requests. Sadly. Yeah, it is unfortunate. How do I... check all of the... or rather what... how do I remove the quality as a part of the consideration? That I don't know. Each. That's not going to work for us. I guess I could literally check for every version of red science and contribute that as red science, which is really unpleasant. Outputs all input signals that pass the quality filter. Yeah, that wouldn't work. Direct selection, not what I want. Select from signal. Search a specified signal in the input and picks the highest quality of found signals. Can you explain to me why reading the quantity in a lab wouldn't do exactly what Kayin is asking about? Yeah, sure. It's impossible to read the quantity. I actually answered the question when they literally asked, you know, can you just check the lab? And I tried to connect the wire on them, and then tried. I thought maybe it's because very much like the biter nest, it's not an unreasonable thing to ask about. It genuinely isn't. I would have assumed once you attached all this technology to them, you'd be able to read a signal from it, but you can't. But then I was like, oh, well, maybe because biolabs are kind of, you know, very similar to the nest. That's why. But as it turns out, you can't even do it on labs. Now, I have no idea why, because that seems like a really obvious one. But yeah, you can't. Frustrating, if I'm honest, but oh well. It would have made it much easier. Yeah, there's no way that I can think of to remove quality as a function of an item. Yeah, I only need the sum of type. And Looping Fool says, Aavak, you can use the quality transfer to flatten the contents of the sushi belt to just be normal. Oh, wait. Oh, is that what that... Is that how that works? Outputs the target signal with the specified quality and its original value. could use each in here. Oh my lord, that's amazing. That is exactly what I needed. Thank you so much, chat. I am so used to each not being something you can use with quality that I simply did not check anymore. And that was my bad. So that will output each to this line. And then it's simply a case of, if that's below, I don't know, let's say 50, half a stack. Well, wait a second. Depending on how big this is, that could be quite bad. We'll put 20 just as a start. Then it would be green. Then it would be military. But thank you so much. If that's how that works, that actually opens up quite a lot of things. Again, I'm used to quality not being something that can be applied to each, and for some reason, because of that, my brain was like, well, then quality can't be used in any way in regards to each. But no, that's not the case. That A does not equal B. White science, then metallurgic science, electromagnetic, agricultural, cryogenic, and there we are, promethium. There we go. What I shall do, though, is I will also read this line. That way, as they're being allowed out, it'll also shut it down. Highly recommend using a control signal instead of hard coding. Yeah, no, that's a fair point. That's actually a completely fair point. Let's use this. Let's use S for the amount, and that could be set to 20 in this instance, and then is less than S. This also gives me an opportunity to check that every single one of the sciences is different. You're quite right. Once I've started to expand this out, I'll eventually want way more than 20 on the belt at any one time. And so having a way of very quickly changing that, super useful. Yeah. Okay. That should be fine. All right. I started on Fulgora and went down the quality combinator rabbit hole. Also went past cycling quality filters and other fun stuff. Currently, all of the blueprints are in the here be dragons penalty box. I see. How are things doing over here? Well, we've picked up some eggs. There's more spoilage on the way, but we are leaving that behind, which means we're going to be coming back for that, sadly. Oh, wow, there's a lot of spoilage there, though. Well, at the very least, that's keeping everything moving. We are probably making a decent amount of these. We are making a very decent amount of these. Should I allow it to just keep making them? Also, on that note, there is absolutely no reason why I shouldn't be doing this. At the very least, give me an opportunity to make something better. So I would very much like some high quality versions. All right, well with that then, I'm going to need to decide where we're setting this up. And there's a reasonable part of me, reasonably big part of me, that feels that setting it up over here would work. I'd still need to belt a lot of the science over there. And getting it across the bus would be a real pain. But that being said, actually, I own all of this space for all intents and purposes. There's nothing that says I can't have bots deliver the agri and the space science over this far. Whilst there's certainly something to be said about not having that train line going right through the middle of it, there's nothing that says that I can't. But you know what? We're going to set it up over here. All right. Have the sciencey bits on this side. Clunk. Hey, more golds. How you doing, mate? Thank you so much for the 20 months. And Poison BL, thank you very much for the gift sub there. That's incredibly kind of you. I am doing well, mate. I am doing very well, in fact. All right. Now all I need to do is... it would be great if I could see these. You know what? There is a way I can see them. This is purely for me, by the way. This in no way is necessary, realistically speaking. That is just going to be so much easier for me. This way, I should ideally not end up stuck in a situation where the wrong science is on a certain belt and it takes me ages to notice it. I might still miss it, if I'm honest, but there's a much better chance that I'll realize something is amiss when the science on the belt is not the same color as the science on the screen. There we go. Oh yeah. I just wish I could easily put numbers on those screens. It's not easy, certainly, but you can definitely do it. And yes, Kiwis can fly. How you doing, buddy? And Cyrolitesh, or Tish, I guess. Thank you very much for the 4 months. Diolch yn fawr. Right. Let us head on over there. And I will handcraft a bunch of those. Right, as for the belt there, I'm going to say that I would... like to bring this over and... oh, that's going to be a pain in the backside to get through, but I think I can manage it. There we go. We'll get all of that loaded in. However, I'm going to give priority to the stuff coming out of the train because that's probably going to contain eggs, whereas at the worst, this will contain spoilage. Eggs are far, far worse than spoilage. To be left on a line, that is. There we go. So the spoilage line is almost complete. There we go. And now I could just request these sciences, but let's do it properly. These ones I'm obviously going to have to request, but I won't set that up just yet. Actually, let's move myself down a little bit, or at least to the side. So these will be requested. There's just nothing I can do about it. Because they're going to be coming in from space. Now, what I would love is for them to be stack inserted. But should I? Yeah, kind of. Am I bringing stack inserters from Kleber? I am not. I really should be. Set up stack inserters to be requested. And a fair bit available here. I haven't checked in on Kleber in a while. For the most part, it's looking okay, though. That spore cloud is getting chunky. Excessively chunky, if you ask me. Right. May need to worry about that in a bit. There we go. Now, as for these... I'm going to have to take these out individually, but some of them are already more or less pointing the right way. Blue science, for example, I should be able to very easily take out here. It is simply a matter of pulling that to the side. I'm really sorry, trees, but you're going to have to go. Womp. Wait, I mean, I'm not sorry, trees. Shift yes. It's down a bit. Don't need these here anymore. So they can go. Right, this would be for the blue science. Yellow is being produced here, but I can simply change the direction of that. And once all of these are gone, that actually won't be difficult at all. So I could instead have yellow come down on this side. Purple is being brought down where? Purple is there. It's mixing up with the yellow line. In that case, I could also do that for yellow, because the yellow can come straight down here. Again, all of this is going to be going. I don't think we have any more different quality in the system anymore, so I can just strip this out. Mind you, that might be about to change. So I may actually want yellow to go this way. This way purple can be going down the middle. That will annoy me way too much. There we are. So that's those three taken care of. And relatively simply too. In fact, I may want blue. It'd be a little bit more of a pain to get blue in the right position. So how about we just accept that it's not going to be. And bring down the purple down through here and across. Yellow can go straight down there and across, I think. Yep. That won't be here anymore. And then it's just military green and red. I'm kind of tempted to just get this up and running, honestly. I would like beacons to be being made. Yeah, I don't think I'm actually making them. What's involved in making them then? Very little. Steel, copper, electronic circuits, and red circuits. Electronic and red. I could grab some from here. Steel and copper just over there. You know what? Sure. Be a little spot just for these. Also, absolutely going to be popping these and this. There we are. So, steel and red. Sorry, green and red, rather. Now, the copper... It's literally right there. How do I want to go about this? If I were to move this down... then I could pop this there. A bridge across. Right here. And all of this is just because I really dislike having kind of loading into a tunnel or loading out of a tunnel. Convoluted little... Oh, wait. It's copper cable, not copper. Huh. Okay. It's a little bit more of a pain. Alright. Well. How about I do this then? Oh wait, no, that one actually did need the red circuits. Oh, I can do that. That should be fine. Here we go. Mount copper cables. I want to bring copper on the way through, which I will do more or less like this. And to get it there, I'll just branch over here. There we go. That should work. Alright, productivity. And quality is already there. Let this one go for a while. Actually, if I get rid of that and I pop instead a power pole there, then I could have this down here, but use filters and greater than basic quality. This should limit beacons to 2 stacks. A stack for beacons is 20, that's fine, 40 beacons. But this one can just keep going for as long as it wants. If it gets high quality beacons, then I'm happy to take as many as it can make. Right. Okay, so with that, I could probably shimmy this down actually a little bit. Just pop it there, and it would connect all of those. Perfect. With that, what would you say is the best one to put in here? Well, makes no... Oh, I guess... hang on. What would quality do in a biolab? Quality spoilage, I guess? Maybe? It's about the only thing I can think of. I have very little confidence that we are producing enough science to make use of all of these speed modules. In fact, I very much doubt it. So, in actual fact, no, what we're going to do is we're going to remove all of those. Then we're going to place new ones down. I'm going to put efficiency modules in those. Hello, Jam 21, 22, 12. How you doing, mate? Right, okay. So, at this point, I could stop importing. So let's do that. On that note, I am going to still have to have a way to remove spoilage. Or I just allow spoilage to be thrown in here. That should actually be okay. Yeah, because it'll still go around the system. That wouldn't be an issue. Though that being said, I could just make all of these trash and requested. That way spoilage would be pulled out. And specifically tell you to grab the science that you're set up for. Might as well. Can't affect this one. Or I simply make this spoilage instead. So it'll grab anything that isn't spoilage. That actually works. That works fine. So with that in mind, next up, just going to double check how many we got. Actually got a decent amount. So, yeah, time for us to be rid of all of these then, I guess. And the... Oh, can go there. I think I'll just manually move all of the science to where it needs to be based on its quality. I don't think there's any particular value to me worrying about that right now. Let's just strip out the system. There we are. All right. Okay, so that's loading onto one belt in particular. Let's try and make that a little bit nicer. All of this can go as well. Right, military science would be this one. And that can be easily set up by doing this. Can that reach? It cannot. Not too bad. Let's set these. I can't set that one up. Never mind. These ones I can set up though. So let's go ahead and tell you to pull in as much of this as you can. White science as well. Now I've got just the red and the green. That's the purple there. Right, so green does go on that side. Don't need this defensive structure anymore. We are very far away from needing to worry about attacks this at this point in the fort. Just because I like to keep things nice and even. Green would go here. And then finally red. Okay, there we go. Sushi belt should be up and running. Or will be as soon as the rest of the sciences get down here. Green is on the way. And red is just behind. Oh, this isn't going to make an enormous difference, but it does have 16% productivity, and on top of that, it's only draining half of each science pack, so it's going to improve things, just not by, you know, enormous amounts. There we go. Unholy science unlocked. Apparently, the one thing that people have to complain about these, considering how amazingly powerful they are, is that it is not compatible with the disco science mod. So deep sadness on that one. Is military science balanced? No, no, it is not. Let me get that one sorted. Let's take care of that. Honestly, blue science isn't really either. So let's also sort that out while I can. Yellow is not really. So with all of that done, it should be a bit better. Purple is yes. All right. There we go. This one hasn't gotten its agricultural science. All right, let's increase this to 50. Now, there's 4 other sciences that aren't on the belt yet, and that will affect things. There we go. A biodisco sounds sticky. Where? Some of you were probably conceived in a biodisco. Let's be honest. Okay. Nice. Science is starting to climb a little bit. Now, the thing here is that a lot of this science is basically backed up. But, well, that being said, actually, no. Probably not that much of it. Military science is struggling, but I could always improve that. By quite a lot, actually. If I were to do this, then yes, we could improve it quite a lot. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah. No. There we go. And we're done. Right, let's grab all of these. And do away with that. There we go. That will somewhat help. No idea what that was connected up to. Aavak, having been a janitor at a museum park from 2005 to 2010, I can easily believe there are 19 to 14-year-olds out there who were conceived in an amusement park bathroom. I'd frankly be more surprised if they weren't, if I'm honest. Okay, yeah, now purple science is catching up, the lack of purple science. And that is going to continue to be a problem for a long, long, long time. Oh, my bad. There we go. Resolved, or at least partially. Alright. We of course need way more red circuits, but we always will. For the longest time, that'll be the case. I don't think having more than these biolabs is going to be necessary for now. They are happily producing the eggs. We are happily bringing the... apparently... Oh no, so we're going to Kleber. I was going to say we're not bringing the bioflux back from Kleber. That is unfortunate. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was quite a nice one. Been a while since the last tea break, though. Whoa. Way too long since the last tea break. But we do have our sushi science now. So we can get rid of that. Moving on to smelting stacks. We can definitely do that. Aavak, you missed one belt on your military science on the last assembler. Did I? Well spotted if so. Oh, yeah, I did. Well done. Very well done. But yeah, as we can very clearly see, it is 100% the purple science that we're struggling with right now. Everything else seems relatively good. The odd couple of beakers here and there slipping through. Getting the science labs running again. But those odd couple of beakers here and there are not good enough. I could always look at getting these researched. That's not a bad idea, actually. Certainly easier to get to than the other options. Yeah, now that the green circuits are running again, we are seeing purple signs on the move, but we desperately need more than that. And that is realistically only going to happen with a much higher input of red signs, red circuits. They're hurting for copper? Madness. Oh no, okay, fair enough. No, it is actually. We are genuinely hurting for copper. Okay, noted. How is the copper mine doing? Well, we're mining the... Well, no, we could be mining the copper a lot more aggressively, if I'm honest. So I would say this isn't necessarily a problem with the production of copper right now. We aren't producing enough, though, but... I could instead go for these. We could swap over to electric furnaces. Wouldn't be the worst option. Certainly wouldn't be the worst option. There's also absolutely no reason why I'm doing this. Yeah, I think setting up some proper smelting stacks would be a fantastic move. And then equally setting up... Now, the problem is where are we going to set it up, I guess. We're still struggling with cliffs to a certain degree. But I'm thinking probably around here. This cliff is in the way of me setting up a decent drop-off. But if I made them vertical, we've got all that room that we can get rid of as well. I think maybe switching over to electric smelting stacks with beacons and some vertical unloading stations and indeed loading stations, because we could load from the top over here. So unload the items down here, load the items up there, and bring them down, or just belt them from that point. We wouldn't need to strictly move them around in that way. That is way too many bots over here without additional charging. So let's set that up. Yeah, I think that would actually be quite cool. Do I have any high quality beacons at the moment? I've got 2. All right. So that's going to be our next focus then when we get back from tea break, is finding the right spot for us to set up the smelting stacks. And then Setting up the... I mean, we don't strictly need to set up the stations in any different way than we're doing right now. I mean, I could just belt iron across, belt copper up. We've got stone as well, so belt that across. You don't need to do it in a particularly different way, but I don't know. I kind of like the idea of doing things a little bit differently. Having individual drop-off stations for iron ore, copper ore, stone, and plate, because then you can collect the plate from the top and deliver it back down the bottom for a dedicated steel smelting stack. Then of course you've got the question of concrete, because that requires brick and iron ore and water. So you could have concrete production at that point, and it would make sense to. No, I don't think we should make it any more complicated than it needs to be. So just iron ore, copper ore, and stone delivered to the smelting stack, and then I would belt around within the smelting stack to make sure that the correct resources got to where they needed to be used up. That includes the iron plate and the stone brick. And then just have a place for collection of the plate, including copper, iron, and steel at the top. Would I train the brick and the concrete out? Probably not. I'd probably just, especially if we build it here, because it's going to be within bot range, I'd probably just belt that. But the plates are going to be produced and consumed in such quantity that it would make sense to actually train them. Let's be honest, Aavak does things differently. Is at least 3/5 of his charm. Oh, thank you. I'm glad it's not too irritating. All right, we're back to doing science, sort of, every now and then. If we have a look at Pridwen, I mean, what is Gleba doing in terms of it? Oh, hello. Maybe I should go and deal with you. What is Gleba doing in terms of its science output? It's not bad, actually. Where are we going to find science? Not down there, apparently. Uh, 120 a minute. How much of that actually makes it to Novice? I'm not sure. Alright then, chat. Do you want to watch the battlements over here? So I've got a funny feeling that we're going to see an attack while I'm on tea break. Or would you rather watch the biolabs on Novice? Commence battle. Very well. Okay, I will leave you with the Glebans to entertain you until I get back, which shall be in about 10-ish or so minutes. See you soon, chat.